Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. We're here to talk a little bit about sales enablement, specifically how to connect your sales process to the buyer journey. I'm Vincent Sanchez. I work as business development here with Expert Marketing Advisors. I trained externally with memoryBlue. I'm currently going through their academy, which is 2 days of boot camp at their headquarters in DC and 6 weeks virtual classes. And it's been a pleasure so far. And it's great to have Aaron on here, who is with memoryBlue.
Yeah, appreciate you guys hosting me and letting me join in on this. Yeah, so I'm with memoryBlue here. I'm an account executive. Actually worked at memoryBlue back in 2018 and 2019. Left them by our program design, got hired out by a client, and then ended up coming back here in May. Happy to be partnering with Expert Marketing Advisors and kind of teach you guys how to, as he mentioned, go through this and kind of cohesively integrate marketing and sales together to create a better buyer journey. So we want to, how do we foster healthy relationships between sales and marketing? I don't think it's any shock to people that at some companies or a lot of companies, sales and marketing aren't the biggest fans of each other. And so we really want to foster a healthy relationship. And I think that starts at truly understanding at the end of the day what each department's end goal is at the end of the day. So Vince, I'll let you kind of take away the marketing side here.
Sure. Yeah. So, marketing sales, like Aaron was mentioning, they're two sides of the same coin. So they work alongside each other and their end goals are very similar, even though their direct objectives are slightly different. So for the marketing objectives, we want to spread awareness of the company and their products and services. We also want to generate leads for the sales team. And we also want to match the company's products and services to their target audience.
Yeah, so sales objective, pretty cut and dry. At the end of the day, it's to close deals and generate revenue. And so I kind of want to ask you guys a question. I think we're going to pull up a poll here. We want to see how many touches to a client, a candidate, prospect does it take for you to just land a single conversation? All right. So I know we got a couple answers in here. They said 8, and that is true. All right, so yeah, on average, it takes 8 touches, whatever you want those to be, just to land a conversation. Salespeople, how would you like if you only had to do 3 or 4 of those because marketing did the other ones for you? Marketing, how would you not to have to send out 8 or 9 just to get 1 lead from sales because they're complaining you're not bringing them anybody? And so we want to work cohesively to be able to integrate the 2 departments so that, hey, I only have to do 4. Marketing has to do 4. You think when you drive down at your town when they're going through city hall votes, how many times do you see 7 or 8 flags with people's names in a row? It's because on average, it takes 7 or 8 times for something to stick into someone's mind. It's the same thing here. Well, we kind of want to discuss where the disconnect between sales and marketing is. Why do these 2 departments often have issues with each other? Why do they talk great to each other? But then at the end of the day, when they get back with their team, they complain. And at the end of the day, the issue is miscommunication or non-communication. So the teams have to work together. They got to have similar goals, but they usually don't understand what each other's goals are at the end of the day, or they don't have the same objective. Sales is just grind, grind, grind. I need to get people on the phones and sell to them. And marketing, trying to get webinars out, similar to this, trying to get information on a new product they're launching, things like that. Vincent, do you want to touch on the other ones?
Yeah, a lot of it's, communication, non-communication, or miscommunication. So, communicating with clients without coordinating with one another. Funny story was, I work sales with EMA, and our marketing, who handles our social media, we had decided to postpone the this webinar because Aaron was actually in Cabo on vacation, and so he, with that info didn't get relayed to the social media person, and so she put out that we were going to have the webinar last week, and so Aaron is in Cabo sitting there looking at his phone like, oh, I guess I'm doing a webinar next week. But that's just one big example of miscommunication. And as Aaron was saying, both teams are unaware of the other team's goals and objectives, and so it's on both of our teams to really align with one another so that we look like a cohesive unit going forward.
Yep, perfect. So kind of want to talk to you guys now a little bit on how sales operates, kind of what we do in the process. And then Vincent's going to touch on after this, kind of how marketing operates, kind of dive in a little bit deeper to what the objectives are, the goals are, and everything. So sales, the first thing here is understanding the buyer's needs at the end of the day. We are taught from day one, when you get in an SDR, sales development rep, business development rep job, the first thing you need to do is find pain in your prospect. If you get on a cold call with someone and cannot pull pain from them, you're not going to get a conversation. And if you do get a conversation, it's not going to really go anywhere. So we have to find pain. Well, how do we find that pain? We have to provide value to them, relevant to their situation. I could be selling one product that has a simple message or a simple delivery to someone, but every prospect's going to look at it differently. They might have a different pain in a different network or something like that. So you got to be very tailored in your approach. You got to provide value to them. That's understanding through the conversations what's relevant to them. There's also a bunch of just different methodologies in sales. I mean, you've got Sandler, Challenger, spin selling, Medic. You got all these different methodologies, BANTs, gap selling, that just lead to, at the end of the day, signed contracts. Revenue, as we mentioned, is one of our biggest goals. So with that, after our initial call, whether that be the discovery call, the cold call, whatever it is, we like to create a cadence of touches with the prospect. If we set a meeting 2 to 3 weeks out to follow up with them, especially with the holidays now, a lot of people are saying, hey, let's reconnect the second week in January. All right, well, if I go the second week in January and I have not sent them anything, I have to restart 8 touches to get them back on the phone. So now we've got to create a cadence. What are we sending them? It needs to be relevant information. Well, how do I get that relevant information? This is where I need to understand marketing. Marketing helps to provide that collateral, that relevant information. Or maybe it's, hey, I found this article on Google that relates to your situation. Wanted to share it with you. In sales, not everything is an ask. They don't have to give it to you. Just send them something. So you got to provide value in that. And then you do a tailored demo. You can't just give a demo on the solution. You got to tailor it to the client's needs, very specific. If they don't feel like you went out of your way to provide them a relevant demo, they're not going to take the next call, or they're not going to seriously look at your situation and solution. Final steps in sales. It's negotiation and pricing. Every salesperson's worst nightmare. They say, yep, we'll agree to this. And then you send over the contract, and 4 weeks later, they've got red lines galore on it. It looks like my high school paper that I wrote. And then we got to get sales with post-sales implementation team, customer success, whatever it is, to get them up and running with the solution as fast as possible. And realistically from there, we're moving on to the next client. Our goal at the end of the day is to bring in revenue. We have a dollar amount of money we need to bring in every single month, every single quarter, every single year. So we got to move on to the next once we get them with implementation.
Thanks, Aaron. Excuse me. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about how marketing operates. So at a very high level view, what marketing does is connect your products and services with a target audience. As Aaron and I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of overlap between marketing and sales. But marketing first starts off with establishing a clear brand identity. So you have to understand yourself. What is your value proposition? What can you offer that is different? And like Aaron said, it's understanding your buyer, understand their pain points and what are their needs. You have to understand your market segmentation. Is there a place in the market for your product or services? And you can use certain frameworks to further segment yourself, like marketing matrices, the 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, place, or the 4 Cs: consumer wants, consumer cost, convenience, and communication. So a lot of the success of marketing comes from having a good go-to-market strategy. So this is utilizing your resources to deliver your unique value proposition to the customers and achieve a competitive advantage. So you want to relay how you're going to enhance the overall customer experience and why they need your products or services. A good go-to-market strategy consists of target audience, marketing plan, and outlining a sales strategy. And that's something we have to coordinate with the sales team. It also includes studying the current market so you can find competition and demand, as well as understanding your distribution. What mediums will you get out your products and services? So how do we get that message out? It's important to use multiple channels: email, SEO, SEM techniques in parallel. Social media, you have to be active in all platforms. And as we said earlier, it takes 8 touches on average just to land a conversation. So the point of the go-to-market strategy is to shorten the buyer's journey by presenting them the right info at the right time in the right place. So you want to have a good content marketing strategy as well. And building relevant content helps customers connect with the benefits of important trends, products, services. And that can be in the form of blog posts, articles, white papers, or webinars such as this. And last but not least, you need to have good feedback and reporting. So we need to make sure that our processes are working, right? Every team works differently. For our clients, we have repeatable playbooks that we've used and tweaked over the years. They're tailored for each client and we give them to the client. But at the end of the day, it boils down to execution of the playbooks and are we reaching our target numbers? Here at EMA, we work on agile marketing. So we do 1-week sprints with a weekly deliverable meeting just to ensure that we're meeting our clients' needs and delivering results week over week. All right, that's different for every team. That's just how we work. You want to constantly take a look at your KPIs and metrics and make sure that you're benchmarking them with other players in the markets. You want to take a look at different stats, like for social media, for example. Is your audience growth growing? Are you getting more engagements and impressions? And you also want to take into account sales revenue, right? That's a big metric that you have to look at, because we might have high awareness, which means our marketing is doing its job. But if it's not boosting sales, then we need to make some changes. Or maybe that's Aaron's fault, right? The sales team's fault.
Probably is.
And then so for lead scoring, that's important for the marketing team to do as well. And that's another big part of communication to the sales team. Are we increasing the number of leads? Are the leads that we're sending qualified? The pipeline that we have should be updated constantly so that we send quality leads back to the sales team.
So kind of now with that, how do we integrate successfully? How do we make sure everybody is on the same page and happy and we don't have complaining? We don't have people talking bad about each other behind their back. At the end of the day, we're all at the same company. We're all working hard. We're all trying to provide for families, for ourselves. We're all trying to have end goal of creating a business, making the company better. So one of the big things is communication. We got to have consistent messaging. Marketing can't send out something and then 2 days later, I as a salesperson cannot send out something that's not consistent. It's got to be aligned. Same thing. Can't give candidates too much information that's completely all over the place, going in multiple directions. Vincent, do you want to hit on the next ones?
Yeah, so you have to clearly define your roles and responsibilities, and you got to work together and align on those goals. So, as we just said, marketing is going to go out and get the leads for you. We're going to generate those leads, and sales is going to go out there and try to close those deals. But at the end of the day, we have very similar goals. We all need to drive revenue. Yeah, that was it, Aaron.
Yeah, so I like to think of sales and marketing as like a circle, a family that works together. And I think it's where one job's ends, the other begins, and we can work together. So the way I like to think of it is you got a circle. So marketing starts by providing content, relevant information to provide leads. When they provide a lead, They hand it over to me and the sales team, and their job is essentially done with that prospect, whatever the case is. Obviously, there's more goes into it, but now it's my job. I take the lead and I end up running it through process, demos, negotiation, contracts, signing, implementation. Upon implementation, marketing now takes back over. They're now working with the client alongside customer success, customer implementation to say, hey, what about our solution brought you to us? What was interesting? What was relevant? What was not relevant? What worked for us? They're then regurgitating that information, taking it back, creating better material, better collateral to now send that out to more people, which provides more leads. And in turn, sales is now getting more revenue, more demos, the whole 9 yards, and it's just a consistent circle. So our jobs at the end of the day intertwine. They're together, they work together, but I like to view it as a circle that we have to work together. If that circle breaks, it's not going to work. We can't have people going back and forth. So what's the end result of this? At the end of the day, it's going to make the buyer's journey much smoother. Last thing we want is marketing and or sales to get messaged by somebody saying, hey, you've sent me 9 messages in the last 4 days. Take me off of everything. Do not ever contact me again. Well, that came down to our miscommunication. Sales didn't tell marketing that they're going to send out a bunch of information to these people. Marketing didn't realize that we were in a sales process with them and just sent them information that had nothing to do with what we were talking about. And at the end of the day, it makes your team look cohesive together. You work better, a lot more enjoyable. The culture at the company is going to be way better. It's going to get people staying with your company longer. It's going to have people wanting to join your company. They're going to see how you talk about your company to people. Everyone's going to get excited. Vince, you got anything else to add on the end result?
No, I think that was spoken beautifully. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, so now kind of at this time, we want to open it up. Any questions? Kind of see, what questions you guys might have for us, what we can answer. If there's anything you guys got, you can go ahead and type them into the question bar. All right, so Vincent, I got one here for you coming through. All right, as marketing, what do you specifically need from a sales team, sales leader, account executive, SDR, to make your life easier? What are some things that we could do?
I think staying consistent with the messaging. I think that should be communicated because, like you said, there's sales might be saying one thing, and then the marketing might be saying something else. Especially with if there's deals going on, sometimes I'll be reaching out to a potential client, and there's a promo going on. I had no idea. So messaging, I think, should be relayed. And I'll turn that back to you. What do you think that marketing should be doing that?
Yeah, I think kind of understanding, what messaging you guys are going to be sending out, or maybe you're asking questions with clients and candidates. And I think one of the big things is, I build relationships with a lot of clients. I've got a full pipeline. I'm talking to a lot of people throughout process and need to understand exactly what is going on. If I build a good relationship with a client that I'm selling to in a process that some sales cycles are 12, 18 months, 9 months, you're building a relationship with this person. And so being able to have that upfront conversation and say, hey, what worked for you? What didn't? What intrigued you about this, and relaying it back to you guys, helps us out at the end of the day, because, hey, you might be able to put together a flyer for me or a pamphlet that I could send out. But if I don't tell you guys what it is, then there's nothing that we can do in that aspect. So got another question that popped up that said, how long does it take to get on the same page with the new marketing and or sales head? And I think realistically, it shouldn't take that long. I think if you ask how long does it take, a lot longer than it really should.
Longer than, yeah.
And I think that's because when marketing and sales come in, they've got their head down to fix their department. They're not worried about the other departments. They got to fix their department. They want to get new things going and whatnot. I think a simple, hey, let's connect for an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on how long we need to connect, and just lay everything out. What do we need? So I think it's a twofold question. How long does it take? A lot longer than it should right now. Realistically, you should have this kind of in the first week at starting a new job, or whoever comes in, whatever the case is. I think it should be no less than a week. Just need to find time on people's calendar. And it comes back to the biggest issue we talked about earlier, which is miscommunication or non-communication. Vincent, do you have anything to add to that?
I think, I mean, like you're saying, it does take longer. But I mean, like that could be fixed with, it's just simple, like 15, maybe just like a 15-minute call or something, or like a 30-minute just to sync once a week on what the messaging is.
Yep. No, that's exactly it. Just got to communicate at the end of the day. That's the biggest thing, is communication. So go find someone on the sales team. If you're in marketing, if you're in sales, go talk to a marketing person. Understand what they're doing day in and day out. They're two completely different jobs with the same end goal, is to provide business for the company and create a better company, better culture at the end of the day. I don't know. Does anybody have any other questions here? Nope,
That
doesn't
might
look
be
like
it,
any
Aaron.
are coming through.
Right. I think that's it, Aaron.
Oh, here we go.
Cool.
So someone just typed in and said, what would be your main suggestion for organizations that are missing the mark?
I think, like we said, like a weekly sync between the head of sales and head of marketing. I mean, depending on how big the teams are, but one quick weekly sync between the two would really help nail down the consistent messaging, I think. Aaron, do you have any other suggestions?
No, I think that's exactly it. I think, having that weekly sync, even if it's bi-weekly, just some type of things that you guys could do. It's no surprise that technology, software, sales, and marketing is ever changing. 20 years ago, if you got into sales, you would have never picked up a phone to call someone. You would have sent them a handwritten letter. You would have walked into their office, asked the administrator for time with the person. And now we're changing. Times are changing and adapting. With COVID, outside sales and traveling kind of became obsolete. We sat behind a computer. We had Zoom bombers and everything, going on. You got dogs barking in the background, kids playing around. So times are changing. And I think having that weekly or bi-weekly meeting between sales and marketing to say, hey, marketing, this is what we're seeing on the forefront. All of my teams are having these conversations. This is what's most important to people. Can we get some collateral put together that we can send out, potentially get some new leads? Marketing, go ask salespeople. We're head down, grinding, working with multiple clients, trying to build relationships. Go ask to us, hey, what are you guys seeing at the end of the day? Have your salespeople, they've got good relationships with their prospects, whether they're in process looking to get a contract signed, just a discovery call, or they're closed. If they've got a good relationship, they should have no issue at the end of the day going to them and saying, hey, I got a quick question for you. I'm sure just like you guys are looking to build your business and grow, so am I. What was relevant? Where did I hit the mark? Where did I not hit the mark? Even if you got to spice something like, hey, I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. Here's a bottle of wine. Can you fill out a survey for me? What was relevant? Last thing I want to do is send you something 2 months from now that's not relevant. And kind of getting that information put together, and then, continue conversations. That's going to change 6 months from now. My message might be completely different because of something happened.
Right. And I think the more often that you meet with one another, obviously the better the relationship is going to be, but also, the better quality the campaigns are going to be. So you're going to have, more better quality, better targeted campaigns with accelerated programs. And that's just going to lead to better leads that the marketing team generates for the sales team.
Yep. Perfect. Well, if anybody's got any other questions, they can type them in. We'll be happy to answer. If not, we appreciate y'all coming to this. Please go connect with expert marketing advisors. They put this on. Love them. I've hung out with them at a couple conferences. Great people. So please go connect with them online. Email them for any questions. But other than that, we do appreciate everybody joining today. Hope you all have a great rest of the day and a happy holidays.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, thanks for your time. And just want to say memoryBlue, I've learned so much from them just in these past couple of weeks of training. They have a lot of good stuff to offer. Their sales academy really some of the best. So yeah, thank you, Aaron. It's been a pleasure having you, and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. I'll take care.
Take care. Happy holidays, guys.